Box fans, we are here in London. Adam Smith, always a pleasure seeing you. First of all, looking good.
Thank you.
I do want to talk about the press conference. Peter Fury sat there with you guys, and you announced the signing of Huey Fury for GBM. I want to ask you this question. I asked Peter this. A lot of people have been saying, look, Huey falls outside that bubble of the Riyadh season type heavyweights are getting the plaudits right now, getting the big fights and the big events. How far do you believe Huey is from that mix?
I think he's very close, actually. The mix is big. The mix is potent. We have the huge night next week with Daniel Dubois and Joe Parker, and of course Zhilei Zhang and Agit Kabayel. Oleksandr Usyk was around this week in London. He's going to probably fight Dubois if he gets through Parker, or maybe Parker if he gets through. AJ, what's happening there? You keep hearing about Deontay Wilder. We know Martin Bakole's fighting in May in a final eliminator. So it's a great time to be a heavyweight. I mean, we haven't mentioned the likes of Dillian White and the wonderful show that Frank's announced against Joe Joyce. You've got Lawrence Bakole and Richard Riakporhe. Delicious Ore's coming to the party as well. Fabio Wardley. And possibly my favourite, and don't tell anyone this, but Moses Italma, who I quite like, right? So it's a huge heavyweight mix, and what Turki Al-Sheikh has done has been amazing, and to get them all fighting each other and together, it's just wonderful for the fans and these opportunities. Now, Huey Fury lies outside of that bracket at the moment. Tyson, has he retired? Questionable. His cousin Huey has always been around. He's almost had a backwards career because he fought for a world title. He fought the likes of Joe Parker way back. He's fought the likes of the Povetkins and the Pulevs, but this was when he was in his early 20s. And of course, we know about his long time out, absent, injury, problems, issues. It's really difficult times for Huey and the family. Izzy said it, that Peter and Huey, they don't need to do this. They're comfortable, they're fine. It's not about finances, it's about what Huey Fury wants to be, and that is a world champion. He's been fighting since he was a little kid. He was a standout amateur, and he's almost become that world champion. He's now still young, 30 I think, really young still for a heavyweight. He's got plenty of time, but he's got to have momentum. We saw him back last year, but we want to see him regularly in 25, and in 26 I believe if he keeps winning he will get that opportunity. I think it's a big move for Izzy to announce a multi-fight deal with Huey Fury. I know Peter and Izzy are close, but this is business. Huey Fury needs to be settled. He needs to have the right fights at the right time. We'll see him in April. I want to then see him in May. I want to then see him in July. I want to see him in September, October. Let's then judge by the end of the year. Peter made it very clear they want everyone. Huey Fury will fight anyone, and Peter wants it to happen. Win, lose or draw, they want to go in with these guys. So how far is it away from the Riyadh season, the big fights, the opportunities, with that Fury name, with Peter as a father and a coach, and with Izzy now guiding? Maybe this is Izzy's ticket to Saudi. I don't know. I think that Huey is 2-3 fights away from being part of that heavyweight mix, because he's a big name. He's an awkward fighter to fight. He's got bundles of talent. He's got to prove it to himself. He wants to do it, and that's what I want to hear. Huey Fury wants 25 and 26 to be his years. He's got to get on with it, and he's got to take big fights. So let the show recommence. It's been a strange career, hasn't it? But Huey Fury has got time. He's got his dad. He's now got Izzy and GBM, and he's got those other heavyweights out there that he's going to get an opportunity. So he's got to just keep winning.
You talk about Huey being young, but he seems like he's been around forever. Like for the last 10 years, he's had what 30 fights or something like that. So he's
32, I think.
32, yeah. So he's been he's very experienced in the ring. Obviously, there's a lot of hopefully still more to come from him. I do want to talk about Oleksandr Usyk. You were with him the other day, right?
I was.
He looked in good form, as he always does.
And in good shape?
Yeah, well, he always looks in good shape, to be fair to Alexander. Like he said to yourselves and other media, he's got 2 fights left, the winner of Dubois, Jose Parker. What do you believe that second fight could be for him?
He wants to fight in Kiev. I mean, Ukraine is where he wants to to go out on. But obviously it's extremely difficult with what's happening there. You know, I'm very close to Oleksandr. He is an incredible guy. Not only is, I believe, the standout fighter of this generation, the pound for pound best of what he's achieved in the ring. I mean, not only a phenomenal amateur who won everything, but he's won everything as a pro at cruiserweight, going up to heavyweight, beating everybody. There's really nothing left to prove. Obviously, the Daniel Dubois fight had a bit of controversy in it, so maybe that's a straightener, a rematch with Dubois would be good. Then you got to look at it. You know, is Jaya Pattaya going to come up? Would Moses Atalma, you know, the young gun, come in? I don't know. I think for Usyk, he's there ringside in Riyadh next week. He wants to see, he believes that Daniel Dubois will come through. His company ready to fight. The analytics, or the analysts, the great people behind RTF have said there's a 52% chance of Daniel Dubois winning that fight, 48 to Joe Parker. He's going with his man, Daniel Dubois. He thinks he'll come through it. I think it's a fascinating fight. I cannot wait to commentate on it. But I think he'll be there, and I think, like Daniel came into the ring in that sort of slightly odd way after Usyk and Fury fought, he made his case, and I think that this time Oleksandr will sit back, be very cool. I think if Daniel wins, he'll let Daniel take the limelight, and it's a big if, by the way. I think Joe Parker's got a real chance in this fight, but if Daniel wins, I think Oleksandr will let him take his bow, and I think then they'll talk about a rematch. So I think it will be, if Dubois wins, it will be Usyk Dubois, say, in the autumn, and then I think he'll wait, and hopefully he'll get that one dream fight to go out on in Ukraine, in Kiev, with his family and his friends and everybody around him, the national treasure that he is, and I think he deserves that. The only question is whether it's safe for him to do that. So I think they'll ascertain that as the months go by, because the most important thing for Oleksandr is his family and his country. So as we see what progresses in that horrible situation that's been going on now for the last couple of years, I think we wait and see. But wouldn't it be amazing if Oleksandr can have that final fight in Ukraine? I've been to that amazing stadium to watch my beloved Liverpool lose to Real Madrid, but that's another story. But I've been over to the Ukraine a number of times. I have history there. My grandfather was from the country, and I obviously have spent a lot of time with the Klitschko's over there. But for a personal note, to see Oleksandr fight in Ukraine as his last fight, that would be an unbelievable way to go out. So yeah, if the two fights happen, I'd imagine one will be in Riyadh, and hopefully we'll get the last one in Ukraine.
It looks like we're coming towards the end of an era, even with Oleksandr fighting his next two fights. We've got Tyson Fury, who's supposed to be retired. We're not sure if he's going to come back. Anthony Joshua, we can say he's towards the end of his career as well. For you then, with that mix possibly leaving within the next 2-3 fights, who do you feel like the fighters that are going to take over the division?
I think there's an Indian summer still with those guys. I don't think we've seen the last of Tyson. He looked in incredible shape when he was watching his cousin the other night in Manchester. He didn't stay long, but I didn't have a chance to chat with him. But it was obvious that he was in very, very good shape. So, look, it's up to Tyson. I think he's got lots of other things planned, actually, as well, outside of the ring. I don't think we've seen the last of him, and I don't think we will be happy, will we, without seeing Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fight. So my hope is that they fight. Maybe we get one, maybe we get two. I think AJ's still got a few ambitions. I think that he's around for another couple of years, definitely. But you're right, the old guard are moving out. Maybe Derek Chisora's sort of last fight, last hurrah. We had a last dance. Maybe we'll have a last hurrah. I don't know. But I'd like to see him and Dillian maybe sort of going out at the same sort of time. But you're right, that's the old guard. I think Martin Bakole's in a very, very strong position to possibly sort of come through. Daniel Dubois is only 27, so those two are definitely sort of up there. Agit Kabayel I like a lot. I mean, if he can get past Zhilei Zhang next week, which is a difficult fight, obviously, but I like Kabayel. I love his movement. He's a smaller heavyweight, but a very talented one. But yeah, the guy that I think is going to come through is Moses Atalma. I think he's a special fighter. I've been around him a fair amount in the last year or so, and I think that he's got the maturity as a young 20-year-old. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think he's got a phenomenal team around him with Ben Davison and Francis Warren and Frank and everybody there that are going to do the right thing and put the right fights at the right time. And obviously Frank's got all the sort of heavyweights outside of Usyk. He's got Fabio Wardley. He's got lots of different fighters and different ways they can go. But with Atalma, I expect a big fight for him next. Whether he'll break that Tyson record, he's got to get on with it if he does. But I don't think that's too important. I think they need to get the timing right. That's key in boxing. But I think Moses has got the power. I think he's got the feet. I think he's got the southpaw style. What I love to hear is the way he gets on with other fighters in sparring. He was chucked in early against the likes of Joe Joyce and Lawrence Bakole, and everyone speaks so highly of him. You talk to AJ, you talk to Tyson Fury. He was in Fury's last camp before Usyk too. They all speak so well about Moses Atalma. I've done an article on him for the Ring magazine for next month, and I've looked into him in some depth. And listen, you never know in boxing, but I like what I see. I think the structure is there. I think the building blocks are in place, and I expect a massive career from Moses Atalma. So there are many other heavyweights that could come through, but I think he's the name to watch out for.
I do quickly want to pick on Martin Bakole because you mentioned him there. He's part of the Who Needs Him club, but he seems to be pushing himself towards a place where people can't avoid him. There's this talk about possibly a fight in Congo in Africa, backed by possibly Turkey Al-Sheikh, Anthony Joshua, and Martin Bakole. Do you feel, first of all, do you feel like that's possibly going to happen? And if that does happen, do you feel like it's a right move for Anthony Joshua, because a lot of people know how dangerous Martin Bakole can be?
Absolutely. Would I love to see a fight in Africa? Of course. 51 odd years after the Rumble in the Jungle. There's potential, isn't there? There was talk of an AJ Bakole fight, maybe. Martin, I've got a big soft spot for, and for Billy Nelson. Billy came into Sky Studios many, many years ago and he said, I've got this heavyweight. You've got to have a look at him, right? He's come from the Congo. He's ended up in the Highlands up in Scotland. And it's a strange story. And no one sort of took it particularly seriously, I don't think, at the time. But of course, as he's built, Billy's stuck by his side, and Martin has proved that he's an incredibly dangerous heavyweight. He's in the Who Needs Him club. He starred against Jared Anderson out in LA in front of Turkey. Really impressed. The jigging afterwards and everything. And I saw him a couple of weeks ago in the Adam Azim build-up, and we did a little interview on TalkSport, and he was very clear. He destroys them all. AJ 1-4. Dubois a couple of rounds. Usyk, he said to me, he's a good fighter. 6, within 6. I mean, he's hugely confident. He's a wonderful guy out of the ring. He's got a lovely humour about him, but he's very, very serious inside. He deserves his opportunity. If he wins this final eliminator, he has to get it against Dubois, or maybe he'll fight Usyk. That's an interesting fight as well. Martin Bakole is that, he's that man that has stuck in there, and he is a problem. He's a real problem to fight. I don't think anybody is going to be sort of gunning for Martin Bakole. It's the other way around, and he's gunning for everybody. And I think he's going to get it, and I think Turkey loves that. I think Turkey likes his attitude. I think he was really impressed with him last summer, and I think Martin Bakole will be a big part of Riyadh's season of the heavyweight division in the coming next 2, 3, 4 years. I really do, and I think he'll get his chance, and then he's got to take it. Is he good enough? He certainly looks it. Can he put it all into action? Can he beat someone with Usyk's talent and skill? I don't know, but against a Joshua or against a Dubois, I mean, it's very, very exciting. We need it to happen, and Turkey Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, will make it happen.
Talk about Turkey Al-Sheikh, then I do want to talk about him signing Canelo for a 4-fight deal. Canelo looked like, from what everything that was going on social media, Jake Paul fight, and Jake Paul's come out and shown the contract and said, listen, he signed it, and he seems to have gone back on it, or whatever has happened there legally. I'm sure there's going to be something going on, but yeah, Turkey Al-Sheikh's got his man. He's been pushing for Canelo for a little while now, but he's finally got his man. 4-fight deal. Just talk to me, how big is that for the Ring magazine, because some of it's going to be under the Ring magazine and Riyadh season and Turkey Al-Sheikh?
I think it's wonderful for boxing. I really do what Turkey has done for the sport. As you know, I was in hospital for many months and out of the game, and I came back, and the first sort of press conference I went to, Frank and Eddie were shaking hands. I mean, it was all just a bit bizarre, really. It's like you've come out and there's this sort of dream world, you know, a bit like sort of a Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, here the golden tickets and everything's happening. But look, Turkey Usyk is a boxing fan, and he knows what he wants. He wants to see the best fights, and he's giving opportunities to fighters maybe that wouldn't have got them. He's taking them out the hat. He's talking to Spencer and Frank and George and Eddie and Ben, and he's saying, this is what I want. And they're happening. They're happening in Riyadh. They're happening all around the world now. In London, we know the Ring magazine are over the Eubank and Ben fight. So these battles, these events are taking place, and I'm not surprised he managed to charm Canelo, and probably by talking boxing, because the short times I've had with Turkey, it's about boxing. He wants to talk boxing, and being around him is brilliant, and he loves the sport, right? So he wanted Canelo, and Canelo's on board. Canelo was at the Ring Awards. I think he was probably very impressed. I think we're all very impressed that he's bought the Ring magazine, which is the Bible of boxing, which is, you know, every journalist or broadcaster's dream is just to be mentioned in the Ring magazine. The fighters want to be on the front cover. It is the Bible of boxing. I have the honor and pleasure and privilege of writing for the Ring magazine now, which I'm really taking seriously, and it's wonderful, and I love it. And I think it's fantastic what Turkey is doing to sort of revive that under Dougie Fisher and Tom Gray and the team, and just revitalizing the magazine that we love, almost bringing it to 2025. It's terrific, and to have Canelo, who is one of, if not the outstanding fighter of our generation, Mayweather aside, certainly the next name, and it's great. And we're going to have a fight with him in May in Riyadh, and then he's going to fight Terence Crawford, in Vegas in September. It's a 4-fight deal. We want to see Canelo fighting the best. I'm sure His Excellency will make that happen. As far as Jake Paul goes, Jake Paul is still a wanted man out there. We love what happened. The event with Mike Tyson was an event. Okay, maybe not like the fight, but we've got through it. Jake now, I like to see Jake achieve his dreams. What does he really want to do? He's an unbelievable social media man, a magnet. Him and Logan have done a phenomenal job. I spent probably more time with Logan, and they're very intelligent guys. They've got a huge following. My kids love them. I want to see what Jake does next. How far can he go in this sport? I don't want to see him fight Canelo now. I want to see him fight and build up to those big fights and see if he can achieve a dream of, you know, the social media guy becoming the world champion. That's what he wants to do. So I want to see you, Jake, fight the top guys. Okay, Canelo didn't happen. You've lost that chance. Let's go and find someone, Jake, out there that is a big name, maybe a former world champion, something like that. Let's see. Can you do it? I mean, you've done it in selling everything. You've done it in one of the most incredible events on Netflix. I was talking to Katie the other day, Katie Taylor. What a night for her being on that card. You know, it was just an incredible, unbelievable event that everybody was talking about. People were tuning in left, right and centre on Netflix. Great. Let's see another massive event. But I also want to see if Jake Paul can achieve his dream of becoming a world champion. So right fights at the right time. Timing is everything. He'll want the big names. He'll want the different names. But I say to him, if he's taking this seriously, let's go. Let's go for... Canelo is, for me, too far a jump. Let Canelo do his thing on Riyadh season and fight Terence Crawford. But I don't know for Jake. I want to see him fight former world champion, something like that next.
What about Carl Froch? Because he's come out and said, listen, I'll take him on, I'll give my money to charity. Carl Froch, you know Carl Froch.
I know Carl very well. The Cobra, he's got his own channel. He's absolutely loving it again. I'll see him in Riyadh. I think he's presenting his whole thing out there, and I'll go and give him my support. He's an old friend of mine, an old colleague. I absolutely adore Carl. Listen, if he wants to get the gloves on again, that's his choice. And if he wants to fight Jake Paul, let battle commence. It's a serious business, boxing. We know that. After what happened, the other week in Ireland, we know that, and our hearts go out to John and his family. It's a serious business. I was talking to Tin and Bradley about that, who was very close to him. It's a serious business, right? But fighters want to don the gloves off, and they want to get in the ring, and they want to do their thing. And providing, for me, it's sort of fair playing field, which maybe with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson at 58, it wasn't quite. Mike Tyson, an old legend, a hero. Yes, he gets himself in great shape, but the legs at 58. Unfortunately, they came out okay. It was an event, fine. It was a controlled, slightly over 2-minute rounds. But if you're taking proper boxing, right, real fights, so long as it's a fair playing field. I said that when Logan fought KSI. Same sort of level, fine, great. I don't want to see Jake Paul in with Canelo. I don't want to see that. Jake Paul fights a former fighter, a former champion, a young up-and-comer, so long as it's a sort of level field, okay? Maybe there's a favourite and an underdog, but it's a tough and dangerous business, boxing. That's up to Carl whether he wants to even get the gloves back on. I will tell you a little story though. When Kell Brook fought Golovkin and Carl had retired, okay, and he retired to become a commentator, that was it. Had his life, gloves are hung up. You know what he did? When Golovkin was stalking around the ring, he got up and he started sniffing again. And I'm like, Carl, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I could take it. So a fighter never loses it. Tell Spencer Oliver that, you know, they never lose it, right? Can they fight anymore? Should they fight anymore? No. But you never know in boxing. But I just want to say, I just want Jake to fight somebody that is going to test him and going to maybe take him towards his dream. Do you think he can become a world champion? I mean, it's unlikely.
Boxing's a crazy sport.
It's a crazy sport. But he trains really hard. He's a good fighter. He's improving. He's got a bit of power. I like the Pauls. If he becomes a world champion, I mean, what a story. He's already made his name, Jake, but if he's really serious, he's got to go about the right way. They know, MVP, the people around him, they know, right, how to get him to that fight. And maybe they just gate crash and do one big fight and go for it. But I'd like to see him try and become a world champion. What I mean is a couple of really good tests and just go for it.
Final one before I let you go. You're in Riyadh next week, right?
I am.
All right, cool. So I can talk to you about Riyadh.
Of course.
Conor Ben, Eubank. What do you make of that? Are you someone that's excited for it? What do you make of the rehydration? Because obviously a senior's come out, had his reservations towards that fight like he did last time. What do you make of the whole Conor Ben, Chris Eubank Jr.?
First of all, I hope Junior and Senior are good. That's really important. Yeah, they've had a real hard, difficult time with the loss of Sebastian, a terrible tragedy in their family. So for me, I just hope the Eubanks are good. That's important. Family comes first. For me, it is just a great, entertaining, wonderful fight event for the casual fans most of all. I was talking to Frank about it. Frank Warren the other day doesn't like the fight, doesn't want anything to do with it. Simon Jordan, I don't think particularly likes it. I understand there's been controversy. First time around, I wasn't quite sure with the weight difference, and then obviously what happened, it didn't happen. It just has grown the story. Eubank and Ben and Eubank, it's synergy in boxing history. The fathers, the sons of the legends, their fathers having those iconic moments, and now watching their sons, very good fighters, not at the level that their fathers were, but very good fighters. I love it. We don't know who's going to win. It's going to be needle and spice all the way. We love stories, we love entertainment, and it brings the casual fans to boxing. There's probably only 2 or 3 fights. If you walk down the street, it's Fury and Joshua and Fury, that's the one they know, and it's Ben and Eubank and Ben, and I'm talking outside of the trade. We want the fights. Like, I think next week's card is probably the best I've ever seen, and I can't wait to see it and talk about it, and every fight on there is brilliant. But you walk down the street and you show them that fight card to the casual fans, the casual non-boxing fans, really, the sports fans, they don't know those people. Maybe they've heard of Dubois, possibly. But you and I know that casual fans need names, and this is a fight of that magnitude at Tottenham. It's a football stadium. It's a great build-up is guaranteed. It's going to stop a bit of traffic. You're going to be Eubank or you're going to be Ben. It takes me back to Froch Groves. It's that sort of a fight. And yeah, am I excited about it? Of course I'm excited about it. Am I excited about York Hall and seeing good fights at that level, 50-50 fights? Yes. Am I excited about the big Riyadh cards? Yes. Am I excited about Eubank and Ben? Yes. Will I have a sort of sleepless night the night before, getting ready, itching, who's going to win? I can't wait as a fight fan to find out. 100%. So yeah, I love the fight.
Cool. Adam Smith, listen, it's been a pleasure. I've just taken up too much of your time. I appreciate you as always. I will be seeing you out in Riyadh.
Yeah.
Where we can discuss and analyze that card when you get.